What do you mean Big Pharma made a romantic comedy about Viagra? This cast is so hot, you're not going to need a little blue pill. It's day 111 of 365. Today's movie, Love and Other Drugs. My massive, throbbing Patreon doesn't need vasodilers to go all night. There's enough content over there to last and last, including early access to these reviews, my vodcast, and chapters of my book. Discover more at the link in my profile. Directed by Edward Zwick and starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Anne Hathaway, and Josh Gad. Damn, this is a sexy little 2010 rom-com. This was not the blue pill that Morpheus was talking about in The Matrix. No, in this film, Jake Gyllenhaal has to grow a part of his body 3 times the size. No, not that one. His heart, of course, as he learns how to fall in love with Anne Hathaway's character, who's suffering from Parkinson's disease. This was by far the most sexual movie that I had seen in theaters up to that point, so I was very happy to have gone to see it alone. And I remember really enjoying it. It was very funny, even if I wasn't tracking all the things that it was talking about. Big Pharma and Viagra were the hot topics of the time, and specifically now that we had seen the effects of them since the rollout in 1996. Looking back at it from 2025, I'm actually kind of surprised at the kind of movie that we get here. Normally, an R-rated rom-com, you're gonna get something along the lines of Superbad or Forgetting Sarah Marshall, something that's more comedy than romance. This movie is very clear in its tone. It is funny, but it's not meant to be taken as a full comedy. It is a fully dramatic, romantic movie. I had also forgotten how absurdly misogynist Gyllenhaal's character was, but it was really tempered by Anne Hathaway's performance. She really brings a depth and humanity to this movie that I had totally forgotten. Normally, actors go out of their way to do a little too much when it comes to playing characters with illnesses or disabilities. She knows the kind of movie she's in, and so she plays it just to the right amount, that she's doing justice to the role and bringing it humanity while still being able to play into the more comedy elements and give us a grounded bottom to the movie. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the 3 things that I enjoyed about Love and Other Drugs. The first thing that I really dig about this movie is that it's fucking sexy. You just don't get sexy-ass rom-coms. Usually there's so many character flaws for the characters to get through across the movie that there's just not a lot of time for them to be hot as fuck. Or if they are, they're insufferable and vapid and shallow. This is a movie that's kind of weaving between the two and allowing us to have characters that are often insufferable and sometimes very shallow, but still deeply human, and I appreciate that. Maybe that's down to our leads, with Hathaway and Gyllenhaal being just really fucking great together. Their chemistry is so good, but they're also just so hot. I remembered it as being PG-13, and it just absolutely is not. And so I was kind of blown away by like how kind of late 80s, early 90s sleazy it feels, in a good way, like that sexy kind of, not ogling, but definitely giving us way too intimate a look into people's pillow talk. And it doesn't stop at just the portrayal of these characters, it's the topic matter as well. A movie about Viagra is gonna be a movie about sex. And I love that the blue pill never really comes in between the two of them. I like that the movie kind of doesn't make that a central problem or thesis. And it honestly could have. It instead treats his impotence very sweetly and very kindly. A big reason that I think he ends up falling in love with Hathaway's character is because of the fact that she comforts him through a period where he's not able to perform. He's not made fun of for it because it's something he has historically been able to do. But the fact that he's starting to get feelings for someone makes it more difficult for him to navigate those feelings, especially when it comes to sex. I don't know if we've seen a sexy movie like this since then, especially an R-rated one that's not trying to be just laugh out loud funny all the time. The second thing that I kind of dug about this movie was the fact that it's a filmmaker going after modern problems without losing any of the human drama. Now, what I mean by that is movies like The Big Short are going to be about very modern problems when we're talking about things like the 2008 financial crisis. This movie wants to talk about something big like that. The implementation of Viagra into our society was a big change and shift, especially around masculinity. Masculinity was under fire in the mid-90s, as it always has been, but it seemed to be shifting. There was a moment where softness felt like it could win out, and that we didn't need all these womanizing men out there, which is, I think, why Gyllenhaal's character represents that. Instead of making this movie a big, wide, broad rollout of what this looks like with a giant cast, it instead decides to focus in on one single couple and the fallout around that. It relates to his day-to-day job, sure, but it doesn't relate to it in a way that's too big and too sprawling and hard to keep track of. It's not trying to make a statement about Viagra. It's trying to use that as an inroad for us to talk about things like masculinity, why people would womanize, and what that says about someone who wants love deep down. I love the way the movie handles that. Instead of montages about the success of this giant drug, the success is his as a character. Instead of boardroom meetings with snappy things to be said that could be quoted after the movie, and instead has pillow talk between a couple and how they're learning to address each other as they grow together. Those decisions are what air this way more towards human drama, and I appreciate that because the movie can still be about big things without ever losing sight of the characters. This is something that I've faulted other movies for in the past, so I wanted to highlight here. This is how you do this correctly. Talk about something big, sure, but focus up on one or two specific important people and show us why it's important. The third and final thing that I really dig about this movie is Josh Gad. He's playing what would essentially turn into the Chris Pratt character. This sidekick in a comedy has Jonah Hill implications, right? This is a place in the movie for us to get the comedy end so that the trailers could be punched up with just enough humor to get all four quadrants in to want to watch this thing. Josh Gad doesn't normally play these kinds of characters, so what he brings instead is kind of a self-deprecation that I really enjoy. There's like a self-awareness to his shittiness where he's not here to learn any lessons. The lesson that he ultimately ends up learning is actually damning for his character. It's kind of a satirical inversion on what we're used to with this kind of character, and I forgot how funny that was. Or at least it worked for me here in 2025. But what do you think? Do you like Love and Other Drugs, or were you in the other 50% on Rotten Tomatoes that just didn't really enjoy this one? We're going from Fox movies into movies about talking foxes. We're talking Chronicles of Narnia, Voyage of the Dawn Treader next, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow.